Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Hope you are okay on that side of the screen. And today to take a look at this really interesting 7-inch display right over here. This is a do-it-yourself display, but we only need to assemble a few parts. And now that you've seen some images, yes, it's targeted at the Raspberry Pi 3 or 4 or any other machine that we want to have displayed. Windows, Mac, Linux, and so on and so forth. At this moment, I've got the Raspberry Pi 4 right over here. In terms of the screen, really cool. This is a 7-inch display, and we have a lot of scenarios. I'll show you Windows with touchscreen in just a few moments. But as of this moment, I've got Diet Pi installed right over here, which is probably not the best to use touchscreen functions, but we can. If I want to start Firefox, for example, I can just come here and execute and it will start, and I can do whatnot. If I want to use a mouse and a keyboard, I can also do that. At this moment, I've got no internet connection here. I only have the USB Type-C right over here, so just fine. Now, this is one of the case scenarios, but one of the things that I would like to share here is that the system is well built and the details of the parts are great. So we have identification for Raspberry Pi 3 or 4. If we make any mistake, it will not allow us to make any mistakes. So during the assemble, very easy, and I'll show you some images right over there, things that we will need to assemble. The display comes all built in. We just need to place our Raspberry 3 or 4 if we want to use it with the Raspberry Pi. We will see on Windows in just a few moments. After that, we screw it. Actually, we need to put a few 4 screws that will make it higher so that we can put the Raspberry Pi, and then we will need to connect a micro USB to USB and a micro HDMI to HDMI so that it captures the signal and it gets the touchscreen functions and so on and so forth. It also has right over here at the bottom a fan connector, which I'm not using at this moment. In terms of the display itself, it also has these things right over here, plastic or acrylic, that will sustain the display in place. But being 7 inches, it's really easy to get one of those tablet thingies that we can put on a desk and just hang it. And I'll show you a case scenario which is really useful, not only for the Raspberry Pi but for any system that we want to use as a monitor, like Home Assistant and so on and so forth. Now, if we look at it, as I was saying, it has a audio output right over here, so we can put a headphone jack and or a headphone jack for our headphones if you want to listen without any noise, and I'll show you the speakers working in a few moments. And I also have a button here for volume, so I can increase or decrease the volume, and if I press it up or press it down, it will give me the brightness option, which I can also turn in or turn off, which is just great. Now, in terms of colors, the red is not the best to see the angles, but I'll show you here, and then we will see on Windows a little bit better, because as I said, the best color is not the red. I can see the icons here, but we are almost in a 90 degrees angle, which is exaggerated. Now, the display is nice, and as you can see, the colors will not shift as much. It will give us a few fingerprints here and there, but really easy to clean. If we use any microfiber cloth, we can just clean it up, and in a few moments it will be just as new. So build quality, nice. This is a do-it-yourself setup, so expect to have this look at the back, especially if we have the Raspberry Pi, which looks something unfinished, but it is finished, completely finished right over here, and very easy to build. I think I'm not forgetting anything. I'll show you the connectivity in a few moments, because we are going to connect Windows, a display input right over here. Then if we want to use touch screen on Windows, we can just plug in here this micro USB to the computer. If we just want power and no touch screen functions, then we can just use this one right over here and plug it into USB that is free on our computer. And basically this is what we get. So this is Diet Pi on the Raspberry Pi on this 7-inch display, which looks awesome. Right now what we are going to do is I'm going to disconnect the Raspberry Pi. So to disconnect, I'm just going to press or to take the USB Type-C right over here. And one of the things that I want to do is to have touchscreen enabled on Windows. I will need to disconnect the USB to micro USB right over here on the Raspberry Pi. This was something that I only managed to troubleshoot yesterday. I was not getting touchscreen signal, and then I thought, okay, if I disconnect the USB from the Raspberry Pi, should I get this? And yes, I did. So what I need to connect right now is the HDMI input that comes from the Windows computer, in this particular case, or can be a Mac or a Linux machine. And as I want touch enabled, I will just connect this one right over here, which is connected to the computer via USB. And once we connect it, let me just rotate the cables. Here we go, we have Windows. And when I was talking about that red color is not good to see the angles, here we are with blue on almost 90 degrees, and yeah, really nice colors. So for the type of display, for the size, it's really good. I'm really happy with it. Even vertically, as you can see, we will not lose that much. Of course, the colors will be washed away once we go to crazy angles. As you can see, I can see the Raspberry Pi already, and I still got some colors. In terms of touch screen enabled, it works just fine, because Windows 10 is a friendlier operating system in terms of scaling and so on and so forth. One of the things that I would like to show, which I think that it makes sense, and for that I'm going to take the mouse out of the Raspberry Pi and I'm going to connect to the Windows computer that I've got right over here. At this moment I've got mouse and keyboard enable. Of course I can use any accessory because we are using Windows basically, but let me show you this. This is familiar to you. This is Grafana on Home Assistant. So for those of you that follow the channel, you know that we do a lot of do-it-yourself things right over here. Home Assistant is one of it. So at this moment I'm pulling from the grid 2.63 kilowatts. I'm producing from my solar panel 4.5 kilowatts an hour. At this moment I'm missing one of the systems because I did a few changes here and there, so only the APS 1.5 is being measured on this individual thingy right over here. I need to update this one and put the third one, but this value is correct, and this is the total that I'm using right now, 6.5, while only getting from the grid 2. The other 4.5, it's solar, so almost self-sufficient during the day. Now this just to say that this is one of the great advantages of having one of these displays. I wouldn't say to have this display as a work display, but if we want to use it as a home assistant display to measure and calculate our things, and we want to put it on somewhere like on the living room or a kitchen, we want to do a frame, a customized frame, we can do that. So there are a lot of case use scenarios that we can do, not only to work. But I've got also here a system, almost forgot. Do you remember this computer right over here? This is the GPT 7 inches. So let's imagine that you use this for work, and there are several scenarios where it's very useful. Probably you want a secondary display like this, 7 inches plus 7 inches, to open up your bag and just do whatever you do on a system such as this. So there are a lot and endless possibilities, just ideas right over here, but this is one of the things. Now I'm showing you this screen right over here, and it's designed to be on a 1080, so we are seeing it split by 2 more or less. But of course, if we are working with a display such as this one, we can just customize Grafana and Home Assistant to show all the information on the screen, or have more than one screen at a bigger size and then cycle them with the information that we want. Water temperature, which I didn't show. This is the water temperature of my thermal heater, which is in the kitchen. This is my water temperature from the water heater that's on the roof, being powered by solar as well. This is the historic from the water heater, both systems. This is not spending nothing. This is the energy that goes to heat this one and goes to heat this one, but during the summer I don't use any energy from the grid, as you guys know, and this is just the weather thingy. That's it, guys. So this is one of the use scenarios. Now I wanted to show as well the sounds, how does it sound. So let me just play right over here. By the way, this is my Portuguese channel, so you probably won't understand anything.
I don't wanna miss a beat. E este é o jogo e renderização. Muita pena mesmo é que neste momento custa-se encontrar placas gráficas no mercado. E eu tenho aqui algumas. Turns to sun rays and on we'll go through the wastelands, through the highways and on we'll go.
Okay, so in my opinion, not bad at all, and the volume is not that high, as you can see, but for these speakers that look cheap, and probably they have actually a nice sound. And honestly, for this kind of system, I was not expecting that much of a sound, but actually it surpassed my expectations, so that's not bad at all. And let me just put it down right over here. Now once again, the touchscreen works really nicely, easy to use, and on Windows much easier than on Linux. And guys, basically this is it. Now the case scenarios that I see for this kind of display is more on the side of the do-it-yourself, and as I said, putting on a frame and putting on a kitchen or something like that with a Raspberry Pi or any other system that we can use, Home Assistant or similar app that we can use to control our internet things that we have at home. And guys, basically this is it. I will leave a link down below so that you guys can check out the specifications, prices, and so on and so forth. Hope that the video was helpful in some way, and if it was, don't forget my usual thumbs up right over there, which is really appreciated on this side of the screen. My name is Roberto, and as always, I'll see you guys on the next one.